I recently talked about vinyl record sales and the fact that after years of tremendous growth, it's leveling out. And that's not a bad thing. The vinyl record industry is healthy. A leveling out also brings out something else: competition and innovation. And it's getting fun. Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but do you know what's been fun for me lately? Reissues. I know, I'm the guy who once made a video dumping on reissues. And I want to be clear, I'm not talking about those reissues of, they take a CD and then just press it onto vinyl. I'm not talking about those kind of practices that sketchy companies will engage in. What I'm talking about are the people and the companies that are breathing life into the format again. Companies like Rhino and Blue Note, Mobile Fidelity, Analog Productions, and even Third Man Records. There are others, but those are the ones that immediately spring to mind. And here's the thing: I was never tempted to replace a decades-old copy of a record that still sounded great. I didn't get it. I mean, if I like how my copy of Harvest sounds, why replace it? Now, my thinking on this really changed with the recent high fidelity pressings being put out by Rhino. Now, these aren't cash grabs. These are quality remasters mastered from the original tapes by, skilled and passionate engineers like Kevin Gray or even Chad Kassem over at Analog Productions. Now, I admit I was a bit skeptical until I bought the Rhino high fidelity pressing of the Doors' first album. Now, my copy was over 40 years old, and it sounded great. And I didn't really see the point in spending money to replace it, but I was hearing such good things about this pressing and this series that I decided to shell out the 40 bucks to check it out. And I fell in love with that record all over again. It was beautiful to listen to, and it was dead silent. So what did I do? Well, I bought the entire Doors high fidelity catalog from Rhino. I replaced all of my copies. Now, I had a similar experience just a couple years ago, it seems like a couple years ago, with Mobile Fidelity's treatment of Carole King's Tapestry. It completely blew away my original pressing, and I couldn't have been happier and excited about it. Now, I plan to listen to them for another 40 years. Well, who am I kidding? In another 40 years, I'll be pushing 100. Chances are I'm not going to be able to hear the music, let alone handle a record. Can you imagine putting it on a turntable at 100? Well, at least for me. I'll have to have a robot do it. I at least hope to be around for another 20 years. I have a lot of listening to do. And then there are the high fidelity pressings that Rhino recently put out, and I've mentioned it before. There was the, Black Sabbath's debut album and also the treatment of Paranoid. Amazing sound. I know I've been talking a lot about Rhino, but they really have hit the sweet spot for me. And then there's Blue Note. I scoured their catalog for jazz record reissues that would further my jazz education. As a matter of fact, I should probably at some point put out a video of my favorite jazz records for the beginner, because I am a novice. I'm just now beginning my jazz education, trying to listen to different artists, sample different subgenres. And well, here's a hot take. Right now, as I sit here, I prefer Hank Mobley over Coltrane. I know, blasphemy. And that's the thing. These quality, now I'm talking the quality reissues, are worth the money. I could go on, say I was looking for an original pressing. I could go on Discogs, and I absolutely love Discogs, but I could go on Discogs and eBay, and I might find what I'm looking for. But chances are, depending on the pressing, I'll spend way more than I will on these reissues. And when it comes to those reissues, like the ones I mentioned from, say, Rhino or Analog Productions or Blue Note, I have no problem spending $30 to $50 on one of those records, because I know I'm going to listen to them over and over. Just one night out to dinner with Mandy, that is going to cost easily $100. And that's over within 2 hours, and it's gone forever. I'll forget the dinner in a day or two, but I'll still be listening to Kenny Burrell's Midnight Blue for years. And here's another one. And I have to admit, this one was a bit exciting for both myself and a lot of folks. Back in July, Mick Fleetwood of Fleetwood Mac, put out this Instagram post. And it was a little mysterious. He was listening to a song in headphones. And this was followed, I think, a day later by this one from Stevie. And just a few hours after that, with this one by Lindsay. What Mick was listening to and what Stevie and Lindsay both posted about or posted lyrics from was this album, 1973's Buckingham Nicks. Now, that record was never reissued on vinyl after it first came out in 1973, and it really didn't make a splash. And it was the catalyst that caught Mick's eye or Mick's ear when he heard Stevie and Lindsay in the studio and what they could do. So he invited them to join Fleetwood Mac because of this album. It was a hint of the things that would come. Now, for years, this was a holy grail for record lovers, especially lovers of Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks. And if you came by it, you were in luck, but you were also going to spend quite a bit of money on it. Now, when those Instagram posts went out, I mean, it was great, a little collaboration there. If they did collaborate, I'm assuming they did. But anyways, when those posts went out, there was a lot of speculation about what it could mean. Was Stevie and Lindsay planning a project, which would have been shocking? Or was Fleetwood Mac planning to do something else or put something else out there, or maybe even doing another album, which again was very unlikely. But I looked at Mandy and I said, I bet you anything they're going to reissue Buckingham Nicks. And sure enough, I think it was a day later, I got an email from Rhino, because I'm on their mailing list. I got an email from Rhino that said that they were reissuing Buckingham Nicks in high fidelity. And again, it's being cut from the master tapes by Kevin Gray. And I hope that Kevin Gray has a team of apprentices that he's training for when he does decide someday to retire and just relax. But until then, I'm going to enjoy everything that he has a hand in. And anyways, when that email, hit my inbox, I immediately pre-ordered Buckingham Nicks. And I did the exact same thing when Rhino announced that they were releasing a high fidelity version of Fleetwood Mac, the very first album that the band put out after Stevie and Lindsay joined, again, with Kevin Gray's help. In some instances, it's like hearing these records for the first time all over again. It really is a great time for records. I can't wait to hear what comes out next. And that's about it. Now, if any of this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Just, hit that button. And I also have a newsletter. I mention this all the time. It's free to join. You can just pop over to the link in the description and join the newsletter. It comes out on Saturdays. And I usually have an article that's sometimes a little more personal, but I always try to keep it interesting. Who knows if I succeed? If you have any comments, please do so. I'd love to hear what reissues you're enjoying these days. And until next time, please take care of yourself and enjoy your records. I'll see you soon.